Please welcome Oriol, Badia, Rafart.
Good morning, bonjour à tous. I would like to ask how many people here is familiar with this picture? And feel free to raise your hands. Okay, most of you should, and if you don't, you're late. I love it. I really like the idea of an autonomous and self-sustainable floating city with citizens from all around the world coming there even with different kinds of transportation. But what I really want to talk about today is this. The Uber of the skies. The airline of daily objects. I want to talk about how drones can change the way in which we communicate, interact, and spend our time, and how floating cities can actually make that happen faster. So, I am Oriol Badia, and I've spent the last few years studying and learning how drones can change for the better our daily activities. I'm also the business development director at Malloy Aeronautics, and we are the company that built the first ever flying motorbike. For the last 3 years, we have been testing and working closely to the largest customer and research institutions to be able to develop hoverbikes that can fly without a pilot, so they can deliver critical help right on time at the point of need. So the Seasteading Institute wants to create an ecosystem in which progress can happen. Social progress, political progress, and scientific progress. We, Malloy Aeronautics, believe that we have to put technology and machines to work for those individuals there so they can focus only in such purpose. And we want actually to use a very special kind of machine. So let me explain what I'm referring to. Imagine the first seasteading community have been already built, and you're living there. You're living in a platform. Maybe you're living in a remote location in an island, and you suddenly realize you ran out of food. Or maybe you just want to send something in a very distant platform. So, of course, you can just wait for the next truck or a delivery boat, or you can just grab your car and drive yourself or sail for 20 minutes back and forth, and you get the job done. But imagine the same situation. And in this case, you or somebody else is having a health issue, maybe a heart attack. Maybe it's late at night, maybe there's bad weather, and you maybe not have time to figure out what to do. So, wouldn't it be great to be able to make a call or just press a button and have this drug or equipment delivered straight to your door? That's what we believe. To give you an example, in the case of a heart attack, there is a critical time of 4 minutes before you have permanent damages on the victim. So after that time, the changes are irreversible, and you could potentially die. So we conducted a research in Barcelona 2 years ago, and we got to the conclusion that with a small drone that could carry a defibrillator, you could actually reach any point within 20 square kilometers under 3.5 minutes. It was something that could not be achieved by any ambulance at the time. So, with slightly bigger machines, we could actually be talking about search and rescue capabilities, emergency relief, even medical evacuation. So think about it. It actually makes no sense to send a helicopter or a boat when what you need is a device that weighs at least 100 times less than the vehicle you're moving. Those deliveries usually have really low frequencies, and usually the cost attached to those can be really high, and even more. Maybe the captain or the pilot is risking their lives for that. Some may call that solving logistical issues, I'd rather call that putting time back to where it matters. But let me tell you that what I'm talking here about is not the theater. It does not belong to the theater. It's not science fiction. This is real, and I'd like you to see the next video. So what you're seeing here is an autonomous hoverbike capable of delivering up to 130 kilograms of payload, all just on electric batteries. Of course, to do that, we had to use very light materials, such as carbon composites, and high-end electronics that simply were not available 20 years ago. In this particular case, we were testing and proving that we could deliver a live raft to the crew of a sinking boat. So how can we use that in the floating islands, in the seasteading community? So once we have our first seasteading community, every single platform, or maybe 1 out of 5 or out of 10, would have their set of drones, of hoverbikes, their landing area, and a beacon that allows any system to know exactly where the position of that area is. So any vehicle would know exactly where to go. Apart from that, of course, all the vehicles are electric, so they could be recharged using renewable energy sources. And once you know what you want to send or what you need, you just would tap into the screen and let the drone do the rest. So Igor was telling before what happens if you have neighbors in your seasteading community that like to party too much, and you just want to move your platform around to another community. In that case, you could do that if you no longer feel involved with your community, and the location would be updated in real time. So you would not be left alone trying to find the supplies from someone else. Of course, after a certain time, and when people start using that more and more, we need to implement the ground control system so it makes sure that the airspace doesn't get overcrowded and able to manage all the simultaneous flights. We could even use that to move cargo from a cargo boat onto the platform and onto the island without having to stop the boat. So everything I'm telling you today here is technology that exists. It's not science fiction. We know this can be done, and we've seen it working. So why are we not using that? What's stopping us from bringing this technology and putting that in the hands of governments and communities so they can benefit from that? And the answer is, of course, regulations. So regulations that do not allow any vehicle to fly without a pilot, to fly out of the line of sight and beyond the line of sight of the pilot, to fly to and from platforms that are not fixed in the ground, and that classify these vehicles, these drones, by their weight instead of their use and their safety. So, in sum, regulations that don't understand what they are regulating. So, you might understand now why I'm so excited about the seasteading project. Floating cities, islands, are surrounded by water. It makes them really easy, fast, and safe to reach by air. If the individuals in those communities really believe in progress and can create an ecosystem with a, I would say, legal framework that allow these things to happen, it would become the best place to do research and innovation, and of course to benefit from such innovations before anybody else. I would like to close this presentation, try to make it short, by quoting Joe Quirk in a talk he did not long ago. And he said, "Oceans first, space second." It was really good. I really liked it. So you may see that there's not a lot of difference between those pictures. You know that by 2025, there's people saying that we're going to have colonies in Mars, and even asteroid mining companies. Well, those projects, are going to have to face very similar challenges. They have to organize the community, find energy sources, make sure they have the appropriate resources. So that's actually the steps that the Seasteading Institute is trying to solve today, right now. That's why I think that what we can do right now in the ocean might be able to change and improve what's going to happen in the air. And this is a complete guess, but maybe this is the first step towards the sky-setting communities. And I'm just planting seeds here. So what I would really want you to know and understand is that my goal today is not to get you excited about technology, about what technology can do, or how cool may it look. I want you to be aware that there is people committed to actually finding solutions to real problems that we have. And it's just a matter of how much support and I'd say, yeah, support and implication we give to those projects in order for us to benefit from them. Thank you very much. Merci à tous. Maruru.